In this lesson, we will take a look at the for loop in Python, which we have touched on briefly in the past. The for loop is used to iterate over a sequence, or as we've been calling them, an iterable. An iterable can be a list, a tuple, a string, or as we're going to see here, a range object. As you iterate over the sequence, you can execute a block of code for each item in the sequence. Let's head over to PyScripter and check it out. First, let's take a look at the inbuilt range function in Python. If we type range and parentheses, and inside the parentheses we place 5 and hit enter, you can see we have a range object from 0 to 5. This will allow us to iterate from 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. 5 numbers. It's kind of like lists and tuples where you're indexing. This 5 is really 5 minus 1 if you're just considering the numeric values. Let's cast that range to a list. And we can see we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which represents the range of 0 to 5. And we get 5 numbers. Now we'll use our for loop. So for num in range 5, we use a colon and hit enter. We're simply going to print num and hit enter and enter again. And we can see we get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 printed to screen. So what exactly happened here? This num is like a variable. While it is iterating through the range 0 to 5, num first becomes 0, which is then printed to screen. Num then becomes 1, which is printed to screen. Num then becomes 2, which is printed to screen, and so on. We could easily have called num by any other name, as long as it is a proper named variable. We could have said for x, or for stars, or polygons. So really, any variable name. We would just need to change where we are accessing this variable throughout the for loop. So for polygons in range 5, we get the same, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now at range we can also add a start and a stop. Let's go back to our num. So for num in range 10 to 15, print num. So now the iteration is going to start at 10 and go to 11, 12, 13, 14, which is what we get printed to screen. In the next section of this course, we're going to iterate over several data types. So for now, I'll just give you a teaser with a for loop with a list. We'll create a list called counties and set this to equal to Kildare, Wexford, Carlow and Cork. Enter. We now have our counties list, and we'll say for county in counties print county. So like we saw with num in range, on the first iteration the county variable is going to be Kildare. On the second iteration it is going to be Wexford, and so on. We'll run our for loop and we can see our 4 items printed to the screen. In this video we took a look at the for loop in Python. We saw that it is used to iterate over an iterable. For each item in the iterable we were able to execute a block of code. We're going to see more of for loops throughout this section, and we'll see even more of them throughout the rest of this course.